After the destruction in Minneapolis last night, the governor of Minnesota today said this.
We cannot have the looting and the recklessness that went on. We cannot have it because we can't function as a society. And I refuse to have it take away the attention of the stain that we need to be working on is what happened with those fundamental institutional racism that allows a man to be held down in broad daylight. And thank God a young person had a camera to video it, because there's not a person here or listening today that wonders how many times that camera's not there.
Derek Chauvin, the now accused murderer of George Floyd, was arrested today because a 17-year-old girl in Minneapolis did the right thing. And only because she did the right thing, 4 Minneapolis police officers have now been fired and 1 has been charged with murder. The other 3 police officers are awaiting the decision of state and federal prosecutors about what happens next to them as Minneapolis sees its 4th day and night of protest tonight. Those 4 police officers were not fired because of what they did on the street. They were fired because of what 17-year-old Darnella Frazier did on that street. She pressed record on her phone and she stood there and held her ground for 10 minutes, videoing the police knee on George Floyd's neck that appears to kill him right there on the video that she recorded. Without that video recording that Darnella Frazier made, nothing would be happening to those police officers. Nothing. No one would be charged with a crime. No one would be fired because no one in law enforcement would have believed the handful of witnesses on the scene without nonstop video recording of those 10 minutes to prove what happened. The Minneapolis Police Department actually took the police officers' word for what happened at first. And the Minneapolis Police Department put out a first statement declaring as a fact, not as a claim made by the arresting officers, but as a proven fact that George Floyd, quote, physically resisted officers. The resisting arrest story always works inside every police department in America, always, unless there is video. I've been reporting on and writing about police use of deadly force since the 1980s, and I can report to you that the resisting arrest story has always worked until video came along to tell a different story. Here is Officer Derek Chauvin with his deadly knee on George Floyd's neck. This image comes from Darnella Frazier's video. The accused murderer is looking directly at her as she records the video. And seconds after that, Derek Chauvin threatened her and other witnesses with mace, but Darnella Frazier held her ground and she held her focus. She has been on this earth for only 17 years, but that was enough time for her to learn how to do the right thing under pressure, under police pressure. Every minute that this brave 17-year-old girl was doing the right thing, every police officer on the scene was doing the wrong thing, every one of them. Each police officer there was in a position to save George Floyd's life, to get Derek Chauvin's knee off of George Floyd's neck. And not one of those police officers found in himself what it takes to do what a 17-year-old Darnella Frazier did, the right thing. And so we have the 10 minutes of video that is now clearly the decisive evidence in the prosecutor's murder case. It is from that video and that video alone that the prosecution's first filing in the case is able to say, quote, the defendant had his knee on Mr. Floyd's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds in total. 2 minutes and 53 seconds of this was after Mr. Floyd was non-responsive. The only way the prosecutors know that is from Darnella Frazier's video recording. That's the only way. We have repeatedly shown you 10 seconds of that video in which George Floyd says, I can't breathe, please. The knee in my neck, I can't breathe. We have shown you seconds of that video in which George Floyd calls out to his mother, who died 18 months ago. As his life slips away, he's calling out to his mother on that video. There is much more disturbing evidence on that video that the murder jury will consider. George Floyd repeatedly says, I can't breathe, I cannot breathe. He says it until he can no longer speak. And about 6 minutes of that video shows George Floyd lying absolutely motionless, speechless, and For some of that time, perhaps dead. The medical examiner will try to determine the exact time of death, but we already know that George Floyd did not have a pulse when a medical technician first arrived on the scene and when that knee first came off of his neck. During the excruciating 6 minutes, when George Floyd appears lifeless, the witnesses at the scene increasingly protest directly to the police officers. We hear people saying, he's not even resisting arrest. How long are you going to hold him down? And then we hear the authoritative voice of one very persistent witness, Donald Williams, who, while trying to stay calm and trying to get through to the police officers, repeatedly says, I trained at the academy. He says, I trained at the academy. You're stopping his breathing. He's not responsive. Check his pulse. In increasing frustration at what he's seeing, we hear one witness say directly to Derek Chauvin, you're enjoying it. Every single thing that the witnesses say to the police was correct. Everything they said was more reasonable than what the police were doing. The witnesses, the protesters of that police conduct as it was happening, were the responsible citizens in that scene, and the police were the exact opposite. Toward the end of the video, we hear one of the police protesters saying, he has not moved, not one time. And then we hear another say, did they kill him? And then we hear another say, they just killed that man. Those witnesses on the scene of what the county prosecutor now calls a murder were the very first protesters of the police conduct in this case as it was happening. Every bit of their protest was true and honest and just. And now that protest has grown in the aftermath to include many more people in Minneapolis and other cities. And all of those protesters all across the country are all protesting the murder that they were able to see only because a 17-year-old girl did the right thing. This story is horrific. This story is a tragedy. Sometimes tragedies have heroes. And the full truth of this story can only be told thanks to the heroism of a 17-year-old girl, Darnella Frazier. That is heroism.